Rarity Collection 2 was just announced, and there's going to be a lot of people talking about this, making videos on it. And we already know a lot of the stuff that's going to be in here in the official announcement. But what I'm here to talk about is the fact that we basically know the entire set list already because of just trends and looking at what we can expect to see in here. So this is going to be partly a prediction and partly just based on fact because we already know the pool of cards that they're going to be selecting from. And this is really useful information because if you have high rarity copies of this card, this might save you like hundreds of dollars knowing this because you can move those now, buy them back in a couple months, and maybe save like $1,000. If you were to own all these cards and sell them now, buying them back later, like you would save like a couple $1,000s. So this is really important information to have. And if you just pay attention, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have to be super expensive and you can have nice, cool stuff if you're just responsible and not lazy and move it when it's hot. So taking a look at Rarity Collection 20th anniversary that was released in the OCG, we noticed something really interesting. So Silent Magician is one of the cards advertised in the release of 25th anniversary, and a lot of the cards being advertised there are showing up here. Rarity Collection 1 really closely matched up to a rarity set released in the OCG. I think this one's going to be a little different just because some of the other rarity collections released in the OCG have like a ton of banned cards, like every banned card ever, Maxi, Tomahawk. But we can take a look at these and just look at the staples in this pool of cards that they're going to be, if nothing else, selecting from, and pretty safely know, you know, for example, if you knew that Ghost Ogre was going to get the rarity collection treatment, then you probably wouldn't own ultimate rare copies of it unless you just like wasting money. But I mean, that's a really expensive card. Droll is a really expensive card. It's like $500 for an ultimate rare playset. Of course, there's cheaper copies, but we're talking about the high rarity stuff. And you know, had you known that like last week, you probably would have fire sold it. But you know, it's kind of too late for these ones that are in the official announcement. But there's a lot of other cards that we more or less know are going to be in Rarity Collection 2 that you're probably going to want to move. And some of them are just kind of cool to know about. For example, like Upstart Goblin is almost for sure going to be in Rarity Collection 2. And just really quick going through what I promise you is probably going to be there that you probably want to sell. Anti-Spell, Pankratops, Allure Darkness, Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone, Solemn Strike, Book of Moon, and Super Poly. Those are the big ones. Those are the ones that, like, if you own those in high rarity, get rid of them. Because Pankratops is almost definitely going to be there. And there's the CR copy that's really valuable because it was like the only good card when it was released in a set. So collectors rare Pankratops, I would definitely get rid of. It's really high right now because of the ban list. So I would move collectors rare Pankratops like super quick. If you own any of those, it's going to lose like half its value. Twin Twister Ultis, that card hasn't really seen much play, so it's not really at its peak value. So there's not going to be as much movement there, but it's going to prevent it from popping back up in value when it does see play again. So I'd probably move my Ulti Twin Twisters if you had them. Anti-Spell, Collector's Rares, I would get rid of those because those were, I mean, it's inevitably going to be in Rarity Collection 2. Allure of Darkness, those are very valuable ultimate rares. I would not hold on to any of those until after Rarity Collection 2 has been released. Cosmic Cyclone, as a staple card, it's seeing a lot of play now. It has as well in recent past formats. There's a lot of value there that's going to just disappear. I would get rid of those, get them back later. Solemn Strike, there's a lot of value in the OTS LT Solemn Strike that's going to disappear really quick. So I would get rid of those if you have them. Ulti Book of Moon. Now, I actually own Ulti Book of Moon. I'm going to keep them because I just have a really pretty Euro print copy, and I'm just going to, I want to hang on to that specific set, and I'm probably going to lose $80. But Super Poly, that one's going to lose a lot of value. So if you have any of those cards, I would definitely think about getting rid of them now. Again, the only one on that list I own is Ulti Book of Moon, just because I saw this coming like a year ago. So I've been picking up like Ulti Imperm and stuff, which used to be $600, but I paid $250 for mine because someone just was fire selling theirs. So I'm looking at picking up a lot of these cards after all these other people who are just asleep at the wheel realize, oh shoot, I just lost $2,000 in cards. I better get what I can and they fire sell it on Facebook Marketplace. But if you have those cards, you need to move them and you need to sell them, unless you're like me with like Ulti Book of Moon. You're like, it's whatever, I'll just hang on to that. But if you own like all the cards on this list, and you're not someone who can afford to just lose like $1,500, you're probably gonna want to sell those cards and buy them back later. And if you're like me, if you like having Yu-Gi-Oh cards in high rarity, then you're probably going to want a lot of the stuff from the Rarity Collection set. So if you're smart, you can just sell all those cards, buy them back when Rarity Collection is released, and with the $700 you saved, you can go and buy literally everything you want from Rarity Collection 2 as singles. All right, so you basically just, without spending $1, get everything you want from the new set just for doing a little bit of legwork. So that's a pretty good deal. And that's everything I think that's kind of hot that you might want to move quick. The one exception is Skill Drain, which I guarantee is going to be in Rarity Collection 2. That's a really undervalued Ultimate Rare. I wouldn't worry about moving those just because it's probably going to lose a little value, but it's not like a $100 Ultimate Rare. It's like a $30 Ulti. So that one's probably not going to be as sane. But again, Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone, Anti-Spell, Lure of Darkness, Pankratops, Skill Drain, Solemn Strike, Book of Moon, Super Poly. Move all of those right now. Again, this is day one. We don't know what's going to be in there. Rarity Collection 2 was just released today. But I'm telling you today, you need to get rid of all those if you have them, if you don't want to lose like $500. So just continuing on the trend of like what we can expect to see here, a lot of these aren't like as relevant as far as what you might want to sell, unless you're someone who has like 300 copies of Gamma Seal Secret Rares. Gamma Seal is almost for sure going to be in Rarity Collection 2, and Harpy's Feather Duster is almost for sure going to be there. If you're like a vendor and have like 500 copies of these cards, then you're going to want to think about that. But for the most part, this is just kind of a fun thing to think about, what you can expect to see. Spooky Dogwood's going to be there. Not the card that sees a lot of play. It pops up in Jerk side decks of YCS sometimes. Abyss Dweller, Relinquished Anima, Raigeki, Crackdown, Crossout Designator, Winter Cherries, Psyframe Omega, Trap Tricks for Flesia, Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. I mean, these are all cards that are basically guaranteed to be in Rarity Collection 2, which makes too much sense. And Foolish Burial, Monster Reborn, Macrocosmos. I mean, these are all cards that are basically guaranteed to be there. And a lot of the cards in these lists are banned. Again, we're looking at the 20th anniversary Rarity Collection release in the OCG, which we can just almost guarantee is going to be the pool of cards we're picking. You'll notice there's things in here from that appeared in the first set. I believe there was a product released that more or less exactly matched the Rarity Collection release in the TCG, but it's also possible there's going to be one that I'm not aware of that's going to match Rarity Collection 2 better than this. But a lot of the OCG releases are kind of tricky. So there's even like Korea exclusive OCG ones that were released, like the Premium Gold Edition Rarity Collection. I think this is another one to look at with less confidence as a pool of cards that could be there. And one I'm interested in is Gren Maju being released in the OCG. And I think that could be a really cool addition to Rarity Collection 2. That's more of a wish list item than a prediction. And some other cool stuff in here. You'll see there is things that appeared in here that were in Rarity Collection 1. So it's not beyond reason. Like we have Phantasme in here and things like that, which make me really think this is going to be part of the pool of cards they picked from as well. Millennium Eyes Restrict, I think, is very likely. It was in Magnificent Mavens, but we saw a lot of stuff in Magnificent Mavens be reprinted in Rarity Collection 1 anyway. And Cyber Dragon Infinity has an alternate art. This set seems to be based on alternate art, so that seems very likely. Something I'm interested to see too is with Rarity Collection 2 is they're advertising all of the alternate arts, but I don't know if we're also going to see the original arts. It could be that they're released side by side like they were in Rarity Collection 1. And we'll just have to see. Almirage, kind of cool. Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, Monster Reborn, Super Poly. So I think these are all very likely going to be there. Call by the Grave was in this one. We do know that there's not going to be any repeats. Cards that were printed in Rarity Collection 1 appearing here. I guess that was something that was very popular with the OCG Rarity Collection. It seems like there's a lot of repeats, and it could just be me looking at the Korean compared to the original OCG release. So that might not be really the case. But it's just so likely we're going to see so many of these here. I mean, you'll see Tikaboo and Infinite Impermanence appearing in this list. And this was kind of like the Korean version of our Rarity collection, where it was like, hey, this was released in the OCG. And I believe, okay, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, the Korean OCG is a little different as far as their set releases than like OCG. But I'm not an expert on that, so I probably shouldn't talk about it. But I do know that this is the pool of cards they're picking from in that list of cards that I'm really focusing on here that you want to really be careful about holding on to. I'm going to say this one more time here. Upstart Goblin, well, it doesn't matter. Upstart Goblin is not really an ulti Upstart Goblin, but Anti-Spell, Allure, Twin Twisters, Cosmic Skill Drain, Solemn Strike, Pinkertops, Book of Moon, Crossout Designator, and Super Poly. If you have a lot of those, I would get rid of them as soon as possible because they're going to be losing half of their value. And that value that you are retaining in your collection, you can just put into other stuff from your collection you want to buy. And it's basically a sure thing. So if you're just asleep at the wheel and don't care, you're going to lose hundreds of dollars. But if you just like spend a few hours posting them up on Facebook and sell them and buy them back later, that's worth like $700, a couple hours of your time. You know, if you're reached a point in life where 2 hours of your time isn't worth $700, then I envy you. But for most of us, that's probably the thing that you're gonna want to do.